Good? Nice, finally. So, sorry for the delay. Hey, my name is Nick. I'm a software engineer at Indeed, and today I will be presenting about smart notes, or also known as the Zettelkasten system. So, a question to you. Do you remember all of your thoughts and ideas, right? I do not. So human brains are very limited. It's impossible to hold everything in your head. Brains are also in structure, right? It's hard to find information in your brain. It's also hard to reference. And humans are in general forgetful. Also, as David Allen, the author of Getting Things Done, said, mind like water, right? It's easier to focus when your head is clear and undistracted, when you put all of the information somewhere. So, today we'll be talking about an external system of thought. We need a reliable and simple external system to thinking that would compensate for the limitations of our brains. It was created. The system that I'm going to present today was created by a German sociologist, Niklas Luhmann, in the 1960s, and I will skip some of this because I don't have time. The general idea is of a slip box. So the Zettelkasten from German literally means the slip box, and the slip box is what you see on this on the image here. Just a collection of files. In this case, a collection of notes. The basic atom of a system is a node. A single node contains a single idea or a thought. Nodes form threads or chains. You start with one node and then you sort of develop it into a chain of thoughts, right? You don't change the existing node, you add on to this. So you start forming threads, right? Just as presented on this example, right? Threads can branch, forming trees. So you start with one thought and it branches into another and another, and those branches can branch themselves, creating very deep thought trees over the years. So in the beginning, you will have very few nodes, maybe very few threads, but as you accumulate, you will start seeing that all of your nodes and threads start forming topics, right? And you can create index nodes to accumulate the information about a certain topic. So a node, everything in the system is a node. Even the index is also a node, which just references other nodes. And in the end, you will create a sort of bottom-up hierarchy, right? Where you see how your nodes, where you look at your existing nodes and how they form sort of the hierarchy or topics that you have thought about. So how to do this? First step is to make fleeting notes, reminders of what is in your head. So you capture every idea that comes to your mind on any piece of paper, task, to-do list, app, napkin, envelope, whatever. Here I have an example for like spend some time every day on small programming challenges. Like, so I had this idea when I read a book, so I write it down in my to-do app. As you read articles or literature, you start making literature notes about contents of your reads, right? So keep it very short, be extremely selective, and most importantly, use your own words. Don't just copy from the book. One other important thing is to keep this together with the bibliographical details. So you quote something and you reference the book or the article where you read it from. So, for example, this note, I think I saw it in the Pragmatic Programmer book, Small Programming Challenges Every Day. But you do a proper, proper reference to a book, essentially. That's what I want to say. After you have accumulated your fleeting and bibliographical notes every day, you go through them and create permanent notes. So you go through your fleeting note, which is just a reminder of what is in your head, and you think about how it relates to your thinking, your interests, and research, and you elaborate on it a little bit. You write full sentences, you just go a little bit deeper into the note as if you were trying to present it to someone, as if you have tried to present this idea to someone else. But still, keep it very short and concise, because you're working like the original author was working on like index cards, right? And that's the idea. Notes should be short and concise. And then step number 4, at the end, you just clean up, you throw away all the fleeting notes, and you put your literature notes into the reference system together with the permanent notes. a few notes about different slip boxes that the original author used. He used a bibliographical slip box where he collected all of the literature references, and then the main slip box where he collected his own ideas and ideas derived from others or the literature that he read. The main idea of the system is not to collect but to develop ideas, arguments, and discussions, right? You want to sort of develop essentially, never mind. So you want to develop your ideas, not just to collect them, hoard them. And a few rules and tips here. So everything in the system is a note. Even the index, even the sort of the higher level notes that reference other notes, those are also notes. Write exactly one note for each idea. If you have multiple ideas, just write them on different notes. And as I mentioned before, write as if you're writing for someone else. Full sentences, disclose your sources, make references, be precise, clear, and brief. Develop topics bottom up. This is contrary to to the most common approach, where you would just write a note and then you would think which sort of topic it belongs. No, in this system you just start writing notes. Just start, right? And then you see how your topics form. You just throw some of your ideas there and you will see how they kind of start gathering around a certain topic, and then you start creating index cards on top of this, basically marking a topic. And focus on essentials, right? Don't complicate things. Even with the system, just start doing it, really. On any note-taking app, Notion, Bear, whatever, paper, really. The original author did it on paper. And practice, make it a habit. This will not work unless this is a habit, really. You have to review your fleeting notes every day or every few days. Otherwise, you will just simply forget what you thought about. And I must say, I didn't make it a habit in myself. I still review it maybe once a week or something, and sometimes forget. But yeah, so habit will make the system work. And I have actually an example here. Do you have a few minutes, right? Yeah, okay.
I actually forgot to set the timer.
Well, I guess I have, because this is my last slide. So this is my last slide, so I guess I have time for it. So an example in an app I use is Bear. You can create two tags there, inbox and slipbox. When you want to just remind yourself about a thought, you create a fleeting note and you tag it with inbox. And you tag all of your literature and permanent notes with slipbox. So every day you go into your Bear app and you open the inbox tag and you just go through the notes, you revise them and retag them as slipbox. And that's about it, right? So when you start, you can just write one Bear note per one Zettelkasten note. There are alternative options to do it, because Bear actually allows you to reference headers in a note. So you can write each note as a header inside a Bear note, because otherwise you'll have just a lot of files there. The proper app to do the system would be the Obsidian. It can actually build you a graph. So it visualizes your notes in a graph, so you can actually see the links and connections. It's pretty cool, but I found the interface to be kind of meh compared to Bear. That's personal opinion. And that's about it. That's the Zettelkasten system. Thank you for listening.
Cool. Thanks.
Any questions?
I might have missed it, but you said it's a bottom up approach, right? So and then you eventually need to create an index for yourself, or does it automatically categorize what category your thought belongs to?
Right. No, it's your thoughts, so you categorize them yourself however you want to.
Okay.
But this is step 2, right, or 3 or whatever. First, you just kind of start with your thoughts. If you have 10, 20, 30 notes in your system, it's very easy to go through them. Right. As you start accumulating hundreds of notes, you will need those indexes to kind of dig deeper, right? Otherwise, you will have a lot of things to review.
Right. Because I kind of feel so when I just do some self-reflections and stuff, right? I find myself writing about some certain topics, but at the time I don't really know what topics that I'm writing about. But later, as I start writing more and more, I realized I tend to lean towards this topic a lot more than other topics. So I thought you could even though when you were not sure about what topic you're writing about, I thought you could somehow like categorize it into one topic so that you know, oh, okay, maybe I think I'm curious about this topic, you know, because sometimes you don't really know that you're curious, but later you find out you're curious. So, yeah, that's my
Yeah.
thought. That's my fleeting thought.
Yeah, that's your fleeting thought. Yeah, for sure. I mean, not every node needs to have a topic, right? I'll just show you Obsidian. It will be easier to just show you how it works to visualize it. Imagine like your thoughts are graphs, right? Does have a demo here somewhere?
Yeah, somewhere is like from people.
Yeah, like for example here. So you start with just a single node, or basically you start with something. Writing is telepathy. And then you diverge. You start, okay, what do you want to say about writing? What are your thoughts on writing? What are your thoughts on books? What are your thoughts about evergreen notes? Calmness is superpower. And you start kind of aggregating those notes and linking them towards around one note, and that's how a topic is formed, just naturally, right? It forms very naturally. As I mentioned, threads form a single line of a train of thought, but then when threads branch, it just kind of naturally creates a topic tree, without like a lot of effort on your part. That's the idea.
I really like the inbox. That's my main problem with notes. Like it's just somewhere, and with inbox, you have to revisit them.
Yeah. I personally don't use Bear for Inbox. I use the Things app. It's a to-do list app, but it can hold anything. And I just have a bunch of items here, and I just go through this, and whatever tasks I add back to Things, notes I add to Bear.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that's that.
Nice.
Well, if there are any other questions, I would actually like to steal the last 5 minutes of my presentation to not present, but to show some. Yeah.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
you said this shows a graph, but it looks like it's always a tree. Is that true? Or can you have like lateral connections between, like, I don't know, like could you have like a triangle there, for example, like somehow connecting writings, telepathy to everything is a remix?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me show you maybe a better image. Oh, come on.
Try to
Obsidian app, maybe.
Nice try.
Not the right.
Try to find
Yeah,
the
this
open
what?
things.
Hmm?
I think on the main page is like a reference from guys who use it a lot.
Well, let me just check this first. Yeah, so you have a pretty big graph over here, but you can barely see the connections, right? I cannot zoom this in. But yeah, you can form any sort of connection. It's an any to any. Any node can link to any node. A tree is not necessary.
So it's not just like parent-child type.
No.
of
It's any to any.
Makes sense.
It just looks prettier to have a spread.
Yeah.
Oh, this one is more beautiful. Yeah, like this. Your personal thinking system, right? And then you can just like you're having a thought and you're reviewing, having those larger sort of nodes. You can see if you have already been thinking about that, and you can add to it. So the idea is that you add to it. Do not replace. Permanent nodes are permanent for a reason. They stay there forever, and then you just add to it.
Is it just a coincidence that Obsidian and Zettelkasten are similar, or was this Obsidian built on the premise or the idea of Zettelkasten?
Yeah, it was
It was?
built for
Okay.
the Zettelkasten. And like the system is very flexible. This is just how the original author used it. Of course, like I've seen some people customize it. There's something called the evergreen notes, where you use titles as a sort of API to reference your notes and other notes. And you as you start doing it, you can just figure out your own way how to do it better. That suits you.
So I'm wondering if you're doing a handwritten version of this, it'd be so hard to find.
What's a reference? Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you have to
um,
A to B, C,
Yeah.
Oh shit, okay, this is the idea
Yeah.
I had, like 1969. Whatever, okay, good. Put it back. Whereas with this, with
Although
Obsidian, you
the-
can just like
the-
search, right?
This reminds me of, do you know about the Dijkstra manuscript?
Oh no.
Like this is like famous computer scientist, some Dutch
Oh,
dude,
thanks, right? Yeah.
who wrote like these like elaborate notes with the fountain pen, and he has numbers for all the notes, and he's just using the numbers as references.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
So you can tell this guy is a computer scientist.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's how it was used by the original author of the system as well. You can see an example here. He used numbers and letters. So you have like node 11 splits to 11A, B, C, D, right? 11C splits to 11C1, 11C2. You can use slashes. And one of his notes was something like 11B/1 to CA4. The numbering was like insane.
So what happens when you converge into another idea? Because like, for example, 11 might be like, okay, you're talking about NLP, for example, then that will somehow match to another topic in computer science. Maybe there's like a...
Oh, you can reference. So that's why these numbers are essentially indexes, or not indexes, IDs. And so your one node can reference another node by its ID. But on paper, it's like really hard to do. You'll have to search for that ID somewhere.
Okay, so it does look like you're kind of growing these trees, and you can link
Yeah.
them laterally. But
Yeah.
the main numbering scheme is about the tree structure.
Yeah, but when you're using this in digital, you don't have to do this, right? So the way I do it is I just write a title or like like a little sentence just describing my node, and that's about it. Because in Bear and in many apps, you can just directly link with an actual hyperlink. So you don't need this numbering system
Would you
anymore.
be able to implement this using Notion and hyperlinks?
Yeah. Notion
Yeah.
Notion is even better. It supports back references,
Ooh,
which
yeah.
this system in Bear doesn't support. So
Doesn't
if you,
support
if you link in Notion, if you link from node A to node B, Notion will actually tell you that node
It's linked
A
by-
was linked. Node B was linked in node A.
Yeah.
Bear doesn't. It's just one-way link. So that's pretty cool.
Good. I'll stick to my Notion then. I
I
didn't
like-
know Notion did that.
Yeah. Cool.
No more sneaky hot.
2 minutes to the end of your...
2 minutes. Well, okay. Any other questions?
How well does this work in practice for you?
I have just started using it a few months ago, and I have been quite lazy actually. I have some ideas. I'm mostly gathering ideas from books that I read. I have a lot of fleeting notes that I haven't processed yet. That's what I think. That's what I mentioned. Make it a habit. That's when it will work. If it's not a habit, like if you're just gathering fleeting notes, it doesn't work. Fleeting notes don't contain all the context.
Last question?